I don't know what you would call this, off-grid stretching? Using your backup generator to help stretch? It's important that I kind of limber up this morning. We have got a busy day planned. No rain. No wind. Today is the day we got to get up to the top and finish off this cob layer. We got about halfway done. We need to get the other half done. And right now we got to break in the rain. So it's going to be a lot of work. I'm going to be hauling a lot of cob today. This is a special time of year. This is the time of year where we end one Humanure pile and start another Humanure pile. That means the one that we've had sitting here for a year is fully done cooking and we can move it out. This one will sit for one whole year. So I'm going to make one final deposit here. I'm going to empty out our other bin and then we'll be ready to start again. We've been doing Humanure composting now for a few years. And it's a decent amount of work, I'm not going to lie. It kind of makes us aware of how much we were flushing down the toilet when we lived in the city. Flush it and forget it. Unfortunately, you can't just forget about it. That waste goes somewhere, and we still don't really have efficient ways of dealing with it. It's a little bit more work, but this is one of the safest and efficient ways of dealing with human waste. You know, this system closes the poop loop. Pretty soon we'll be growing our own food, and then we'll compost our own waste, and then that'll go to growing more food. It's all part of being self-sufficient and self-sustainable. So the compost is all kind of toward the middle over here. So I kind of pulled away some of that straw. I'm going to try and get at this middle part here. Get that onto the ground. And any leftover straw, I'll put it right on top. But this makes for some really good soil. I get asked a lot if this stuff stinks. It doesn't. Once it goes through the composting process, it's got an earthy type smell to it. It smells just like dirt. And we got worms in here. I just bought some worms once, put it in our first pile of compost, and then when I got those extra worms, I put them in here and it looks like they proliferated. There's a bunch of worms in here. I think I'm gonna snag some of those worms and get them into that compost too, and that'll just help keep breaking things down even better. In fact, what I might do is I might just take a heap of this that's full of worms, put it into the new compost and let them do their job instead of pulling out a bunch. Let's give you a close-up shot of this. It looks amazing. This is kind of what my plan is for the Humanure compost. I'm going to start spreading it around down here on the ground, real close to the IBC totes. If the IBC totes do overflow, the water will come down over here and it'll saturate the ground covered by the compost. And the compost and the straw will just kind of stay on top of that soil, kind of protect it, allow that water to soak in and stay there and not evaporate with the sun, and it'll start improving the soil health. I'll just start building up the compost right around this area, keep building up the soil health. I think it'll be a great place to start planting some trees, maybe even getting that food forest started up. So I'm just gonna keep on building this biomass right in this area. Wow, you gotta see this. Obviously that stuff's been toward the bottom, been sitting and composting a lot longer. Black gold right there. But I'm excited about getting that compost and the straw down on the ground. Are we okay with me spreading our old fecal matter all over the ground over there?
Well, when you put it that way, it's a little weird. I think I have to get used to that idea.
It's just compost, it's soil.
It's not poo anymore. It turned into something else.
Now, I just want to make a distinction between what I did and something called night soil. Night soil is raw, untreated human waste that just gets spread onto fields. It can fertilize the ground, but it could be the spreader of a lot of ailments, disease, right?
If there's bacteria or any pathogens, and then you're putting it somewhere where it might get back into food or water, that could contaminate things. So compost is a lot safer because you don't end up with those dangerous things in there.
By the time this is done composting, building for a year, and then sitting for a year, it's perfectly safe to start using for the garden. It can be done like what we're doing for preparing for a future food forest, or maybe you just want to build up the soil and use it for other types of trees, maybe non-edible trees. Whatever you feel safer doing. But we've been doing this now for a few years and I've been loving this system. I'm not gonna say it's always fun, but it gives us a lot more compost that we can use out here to start building the soil, putting what would normally be waste into productive use. So I've reached the pit. Now remember, when you're starting your own Humanure compost bin, you want to dig a ditch about 18 inches deep. I've hit that bottom, so I'm going to take some of that old straw that hasn't composted around the sides. I'm going to knock it down into the pit, and that'll be the base for the new compost. Perfect, this is looking real good. Time to keep feeding the machine, time to keep feeding that soil. Filling up the jugs, prepping for the cob layer. I'm going to get the water from the 55-gallon barrel first. Get this drained out because it's an open source of water. Get rid of it as quickly as possible. I don't know if I mentioned this in our last video or not, but I mean, man, we were able to collect so much water between the poly tanks, this barrel, and the IBC totes. In fact, with just the water in this barrel and the IBC totes, I think we have enough water to finish this dome build. It's crazy. What are you up to now?
Gonna fix a bucket.
Clean it first and then fix it? Alright, time to get back to mixing, time to get back to building. So while Jess is fixing up one of the buckets that we're using, I'm going to start the mixing process, try and get 3 batches ready to go. 3 basic batches. A little bit of chicken treats before we start.
Yeah. Well, they saw me walking by, so they expect something.
Like, don't think you can just pass on by without giving us treats. Yeah, Jess is out here, and we're ready to bust some butt. How's that bucket look?
It's patched up.
Nice. Thank you very much for that. We have 3 mixes ready to go, and Jess is looking fine here, wearing an official Green Dream Project shirt, which you can get down below in our Teespring store. Shameless plug. Looking good in green, by the way. All right, you ready to knock this out? Yeah. One thing I'm interested in, though, is how that section's holding up. I know some of it's covered, some of it's exposed, but is it cracking? Is it drying well? How does it feel to be on top of the wall, working outside, getting your hands dirty?
Yeah, it feels good.
Does it, even though you're 10 feet up in the air?
It's fine.
I love how comfortable you are up here. You hear that? You hear that? You see what I mean? It said no rain today. Now look at this. We were on a roll. We were making a whole lot of progress. And then suddenly the clouds want to roll in. The rains want to come. What can you do? We're at the whims of nature out here. It's starting to really come down. I'm hoping that all that fresh cob we put up there doesn't start melting. Good morning, y'all. So we were working up on the wall yesterday, and you know, the rains came, so we had to kind of stop, kind of go inside for a little bit. I think we have a quarter left to do, and then we'll be done with this course. This cob course has probably been the most physically intense course that I've ever done, hauling those buckets up there. I know a lot of people mentioned about doing some kind of pulley system, and I thought about that at first, but I just didn't know how I would use a pulley and then get it all the way around. Couldn't figure out quite how to make that happen. Well, that was one heck of a storm. It came in, I don't want to say out of nowhere. It was kind of cloudy, but we weren't expecting any rain today. So that threw us off. We wanted to try and get that wall done today, and we still might. There's been a little break in the rain. We're going to get back out here. We got maybe 4 more sections to finish, and then this course will be complete. And I just want to point out, now that I took those boards down, look at that. Oh, no cob loss. It's looking good. Bump it in there. It still doesn't look overwhelming. And the whole bottom is almost covered. That's almost like the whole bottom of the liner is now covered in water almost. So how much water did we get with that unexpected rainfall? Let's find out, y'all. Let's find out. Just under 4/10 of an inch. Not bad, not bad. Still with all that water, I mean our poly tank, it was so cool to see our poly tanks were overflowing. Water was bubbling out of there going into the cistern, and you know, we're actually seeing some water down there, which is nice. So another cool thing I'm so excited about is the rain was absolutely perfect because I got all that compost down. I got that straw down as a mulch over the compost, and now that we got that rain, that soaked everything. And what's beautiful about that is that compost, that mulch, that's going to cover the soil, it's going to protect it, and all that rain we got, you know, it's going to allow that rain to penetrate into the soil better, and it's going to improve that soil health. And you know, the process now has already begun. So I got that out there like just in time. It's so cool to see. So I mean, all this right now, you know, it's just going to turn into incredibly healthy, loamy soil. Perfect for planting things. It's crazy with that rain we've been getting. I mean, this is supposed to be the desert, but if you just look out this way, it's almost this beautiful green pasture, and it's just, it fills me with so much joy to see. I love it. We kind of missed out on this last year, but this year it is just, it's beautiful again. We're up to about just under 400 gallons between these two totes, and that's so good to see. It's so good to see these things filled up again. I'm not crazy about the way this paint flaked off. It was a paint meant for the IBC totes, and you know, I'm pretty sure I did it all right. Painted it, waited for it to dry, put it back in there, but that's unfortunate. I was thinking about trying some of that Flex Seal and getting that painted over there, and we'll see how that works. But it's filling up. I put the tarp out to kind of protect the cob mix from, well, 1, from drying out, and 2, from actually getting too much water. You can see there's a little bit of water got inside this tray, but I think it'll still be okay. Looks like the cob is still good. We'll start loading it up and get that up on the wall. We don't have too much left to do. We are so close to finishing this wall. So close to finishing, and then now like another storm's rolling in. Look at those clouds, Jess. You see that?
Yep. Looks like it's pouring there. Do you think you could mix like one more bucket real quick?
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. I got just that last mix. I got her that last mix. And we gotta hurry because that rain is coming. She's done. The hero of the day. We've just been very fortunate with this monsoon season, I think. I don't know if we've been getting as much as other people, but you know, we've gotten plenty. The poly tanks are full. They're even actually overflowing. It's nice to see that that's working as well as it should into the cistern. It was exciting seeing all that water in there. And then the wall is finally done. Like all that dirt I shoveled, that was like 14 cartfuls. It just made it.
Used it all.
And I picked up a couple extra bales of straw and I didn't need it. I didn't need either of them. The straw held out. Can I make my Hanukkah comment? It's just like Hanukkah. Just like Hanukkah. The dirt and straw lasted for all 8 days.
Stronica.
Stronica. And did it feel nice, that last bucket, getting all that last in place?
Yeah, I have to admit I'm kind of relieved.
It was a lot of work. Everything takes longer than anticipated. But I mean, there were so many challenges with this course. I mean, the rain delays, and of course the bad news with her father. I mean, building this dome, I mean, each of us had lost a parent, and I think this dome is going to be sort of commemorative in both of their memories. Well, I'm just happy that we are done with this course finally. Next up, we got a lot more coming. We're going to be putting barbed wire around the course to get that ready for bags. We're also going to be putting baling wire for the possibility of adding something special to the outside of this dome, and I'm excited about that. Oh! So I'm excited. Stick around because these walls are just going to get taller. We're going to have this dome built quick. At least I hope. All right, y'all. We'll catch you in the next video.